Alrighty, welcome everybody. I am so excited. 86 people on one Zoom. This is pretty cool. So this is going to be a group roll call game plan. Some of you know what a roll call game plan is, and some of you have no idea what a roll call game plan is. I am praying that every one of you got the papers that I sent in the email. If you did not, you might be a little lost, but I'm going to try to share my screen at some point and show the papers that way. So if you don't have them, that might help a little bit. But basically, I sent some pre-Zoom homework for you guys. And, you know, the whole point of this thing, we came up with this roll call game plan idea about a year ago, and we were doing them more on an individual basis with our teams. And, you know, at the beginning of each month, we would do this game plan. And basically, as a leader, you know, if I was talking to you as a brand partner, I would, you know, basically run through the things that are on the actual paper, the roll call game plan. The idea was to find out what their goals were for the month, to look at the previous month, see what they needed to get to their next rank, to get their 3-year free qualification, whatever their goals were, and then to kind of do some troubleshooting on their 10 core, you know, basically going through each of the 10 core things to find out, you know, what areas they were struggling in so that we could do some extra coaching. We talked about their 10 in play. We talked about parties and all that. And we really had some incredible growth on the team last year when we first implemented these. You know, as everybody knows, the year got pretty crazy and lots of things, lots of ups, lots of downs for everybody. And these kind of fizzled out. But I've been, you know, really thinking hard for the last few months about how to bring it back in a way that, could be more efficient perhaps, because we were spending a lot of time doing these roll call game plans one-on-one. And so when Monica suggested this morning, you know, actually we were just talking about roll call game plans, and I said I had been thinking about doing a group one. She said, do it, let's do it tonight. And so basically this is going to be a little different because obviously it's a group and I'm not able to do one-on-one coaching, but I really want to encourage you guys to take the information from tonight and then follow up with one of your upline leaders. You know, get some more one-on-one coaching on your exact situation with all of these. But I really loved Monica's call this morning and talking about clarity. You know, it's one thing to have goals, and I'm learning this the hard way myself, to be perfectly frank. You know, I just started Monica's accountability call 2 weeks ago. And I realized that as soon as I started setting my goals for the week and saying I was going to have, you know, this many exposures, and I was going to have this many parties this week on my team, and I was going to have this many of this, and I started realizing if I don't get proactive, none of this is going to happen. It's going to be next week, next Tuesday, time for the call, and I'm going to be scrambling to figure out, you know, what happened. Did I fast start somebody? Did I do this? Did I get a 3-year free? You know, and I don't want to be chasing this stuff. I want it to be ahead of me as a goal, and I want to have a proactive plan on how I'm going to get there. And I think that that's what kind of happened last year with these roll calls when we were doing them. In the beginning, it was kind of like a novelty, and we were all excited, and we were doing it, and people were doing the activity. But then after a while, it got to where we were doing the roll call at the beginning of the month and setting our goals and saying, okay, this is what I'm going to do. This is how many parties I'm going to do, and I'm going to get my bottles out, and I'm going to do this. But then we didn't actually follow through with the plan part. So I'm really wanting to encourage you guys that, you know, as we go through this, just remember this is not meant to be a one-time dealio where we just have this big pep talk tonight and then you put your paper away and then you're done until next month when we do another one of these. That's faulty thinking. And I also should have added my disclaimer at the beginning, as I do at all of these Zooms and these types of things. I'm pretty black and white. I want y'all to know I love you. I appreciate you. I appreciate every single one of you and everything you do. So please don't misunderstand if I'm harsh or I'm, you know, too black and white. Please don't take that personally. That's just me, just being real. That's how I am in life. And so I hope y'all can appreciate that. And I'm not speaking to anybody personally. This is all very, very general. And there's lots of different people on this line today. Some are going to be runners that are super hardcore, like wanting to full-time work. And some of you are squeezing this into the cracks. And so the other thing I wanted to share too is don't get overwhelmed. If you're listening to this and you're a new baby brand and you've only been in a couple of months and you're trying to figure out how to fit this in, just because I'm talking about, you know, X amount of parties and, you know, every bottle out, if that seems overwhelming to you, then back it down a little bit. Make it reasonable for you. And that's why I want you to get with an upline so that you can really tailor fit this to you. So That's my little disclaimers. So the homework for the roll call tonight was first to decide your realistic goals for the month. Another thing I was talking to Monica about this morning was just that one of the things we want to get back to is mapping out our month. We used to do this and we got away from it. It's really important to know what you're wanting to go for. And so the questions I had you ask, first of all, was, do you need 3 or free? I mean, that's the easy one. That's the easiest thing, goal on our entire list is getting 3 or free. Customers, we can do. And so do you need 3 or free? If you do, then that needs to be your number 1 goal, is getting those 3 customers by the end of this month. And we're going to talk in a few minutes about a proactive plan on how you're going to do that. But right now we're just trying to set the goal. So if you need 3 or free, then bam, that's your first goal. I need 3 customers. Do you need to max your cab? Well, most of you probably know what that means. Maxing your cab means to get 9 customers. Once you hit 9 customers, you've maxed out the commissions for that part, and you're making the max commission every time you sign up a customer from that point forward. So it's a really great goal to have because you're making the most money that you can make on that one-time commission, that cab bonus when you sign up a customer. So everybody, if you have not reached 9 customers yet, and you are, whether you're 3 or not, that needs to be your next goal, is getting 9 customers. And I have seen and heard stories of people that have gotten way more than 9 in a day. It's just a matter of a mental shift. I'm going to do this, making a commitment and saying, I'm going to do this, and starting to do the activity that we're going to be talking about. And the next one, do you need to max your PCC? And I'm not going to spend too much time here, but the bottom line is another part of the compensation plan pays out more if you have more customers. So if you have 1,001 in personal customer commissionable volume by the last Wednesday of the month. This is something I just found out recently, believe it or not. Yes, I've been in this company 3.5 years and I still learn new things. Basically, you have to have that 1,001 by the last Wednesday of the month because we go on Wednesday to Wednesday cycles. And so if you happen to be going for that goal, make sure that it lines up with that last Wednesday of the month. And I had looked it up earlier and wrote it down, and now I don't know what I did with it. I think it's the 24th is what I want to say. So that's your customer goals. So what about rank advancing this month? What rank is it that you're going for? And is it a realistic goal? That's something that you also can talk to your upline about, to look at where you were last month and what needs to happen in order for you to get from point A to point B. You can't say if you closed last month, a brand partner with 0 customers and 0 brand partners, it might be a little hefty of a goal to hit Lexus by the end of this month. Now, does that mean you can't? No, nobody's telling you can't do anything in this business. You can do way more than people think we can do. We can do more than people think we can do, than we think we can do. But being realistic and looking at how much time you're willing to put into this, it's really better to have a more realistic goal and maybe go on a 90-day run to Lexus. And then if you hit it sooner, awesome. Let's hit it. Let's go for it. But let's be realistic about our goals. So write down what rank you're going for, and then write down, what do you need to do that? How much volume are you needing to hit that rank? Maybe you just missed it. Maybe you just missed car by 2,000 last month. Maybe you need 1 more brand partner. Maybe you've got plenty of volume, but you just need 1 more brand partner. Maybe it's a balance issue. And, if you're new, you may not understand all that stuff. Again, that's why it's super important to talk to your upline leader. They can help you map it out. And it can come down to as simple as saying, Monica did it with me recently. Just literally saying, okay, this is the number you need. Okay, that means you sign this person up at this amount, and you add this customer, and you add that, and that adds up to this, and that adds up to that, and you do all the money math, and suddenly it's a tangible goal. It's like, okay, well, then that means I need 1 brand partner. I need 1 customer on day cream or night cream. I need, and you break it down by money, and it makes it so much more tangible. And especially now that we're out of the 250 pack. If you're excited about being out of the 250 pack, let me see spirit fingers. I'm just being silly about spirit fingers. But seriously, we are all very excited about getting rid of that 250 pack. And the reason is now our business is going to be so much easier to map out. When you're looking at your, 5,000 away from hitting a rank, before we were looking at it in 250 chunks because everybody seemed to be signing up at 250. Now you can look at it in bigger chunks. You've got people coming in at 500, 750, 1250. You could sign 5 people, 4.5 people at Silver Pack, and bam, there's your 5,000. But I'm going to show you other ways to generate that volume too. So anyway, that's the next thing. And then where do you need the volume? This is really important too. It depends on, with the balance, the 60-40 balance, you can only use 60% of your goal out of your power leg. So if you're going for car and you've got, you need 12.5 total, you can only use, I can't remember the number, I'm blanking out, 60% of 12.5 out of your most powerful leg. Whatever leg has the most volume, you can only use that 60% out of there, and the rest of it has to come out of the other two legs. And so write down where you need the volume. And this is important because what you're going to do is you're going to be helping the people that are in that area. You're not just building your volume based on your own activity. Your own activity is important, but you're also helping your people. So if you've got somebody in leg 3 and that's where you need the volume, then you're going to be calling them and say, okay, what do you have? What do you have going on? Let's work through your list. Let's do this together. And so you can use that leverage to be able to get the volume you need from them and not just your own work. Customers, brand partners, all of it, it leverages. That's when you go to a regional and they talk about leveraging your time and leveraging everything, this is where it's at. So those are our goals. We're either doing something for customers or we're doing something for rank and trying to move up in rank. So how can you achieve these goals? With clarity, that's what Monica talked about this morning, and accountability. And we're going to talk a little bit about that in just a minute. So I wrote on this paper, for those of you that didn't get the homework, you need a proactive plan that must include parties, sampling, three-way calls, and sit-downs. These are the job requirements for your career with Nerium. Some will have more than others, but all must have some. This was a recent epiphany for me. Going to the NLA that I went to recently, I heard something that I've heard a million times since I've been in Nerium, but for whatever reason it clicked this time. And that is, if you want this to pay like a job, then you need to treat it like a job. If you want this to pay like a hobby, then you treat it like a hobby. And that, I've heard it a million times, but this time it just hit home. I realized, Dale Munger, he said, if you went to a normal job and they told you this week that, let's say you worked for a skincare company, just to be hypothetical, and they said, okay, this week, we're trying a new form of marketing and we want you to get out there and we want you to schedule, 10 sit downs. We want 2 parties and we want you to take these bottles and samples and get them out to everybody. Are you going to do it? Well, of course you're going to do it, because if you don't do it, guess what? You're going to lose your job. You can't come back the next week and say, well, I didn't really feel like it. I got really busy this week. I had, my kid had Little League game and I had this, and then it was raining on Thursday and I certainly wasn't going to get out for that. And, oh, that person told me no, and that really kind of disappointed me and upset me. And so I just didn't really do anything this week. Guess what's going to happen? You're going to lose your job. And I think we get comfortable here with Nerium because I'll be perfectly frank, we kind of look at this like this fun side thing, and we don't take it as seriously as we would a job. And so if we begin to look at the 10 core commitments as job requirements, it totally takes on a new flavor. It doesn't have to be a JOB in the sense like the way we normally say JOB is a bad thing. It can be a job and it can be fun if we let it. And so, but we have to follow the requirements of the job if we expect to actually have any paycheck. I need to make sure that this is still working. One sec, guys. It feels like it's clicking on other people. Okay. Alrighty. So anyway, we're going to map this out generally on this call, but you can get with an upline later to help with specifics. And then you need accountability, and we're going to talk about that too. So I had you guys get your roll call game plan. I'm going to actually screen share for those that did not have the paper. And I think, well, you know what? I'm not going to worry about making it full screen. I guess it's not really relevant. Okay, so this is the paper. Basically, you're just going to write name, date, month. This is the same paper we used to use a year ago. I did a tiny little bit of editing on one part, but you're just going to write, are you 3 or 4 qualified? If the answer here is no, then your first goal here is 3 or 3. And then you're going to write your other goals that you did on your homework paper. I had everybody, literally answer all those questions. And so, I know it's only one line, but I had to fit it all in there. So you're going to write what your goals are for this month. And so that's the what. But now we're going to talk about the how. Okay, there's a reason that when you get on every call from Nerium, you get on every Nerium you get on, go to conference. What are they always hammering? They're hammering the 10 core commitments. There's a reason for that. Okay, these commitments are our job requirements. So running through pretty quickly, completed new brand partner training. That should be a no-brainer. Everybody on here should have completed their new brand partner training. I mean, it's an hour and a half worth of training. It's little tiny modules. Fit it in and get her done. Next one, 2 exposures a day. That's pretty simple. And those of you that were on the call this morning heard Natalie Pullen go into some really great detail about, how to maximize your exposures if you've already worked through your warm market list. There's all kinds of tips and hints and tricks that you can get for cold market and all of that. And actually some of us leaders are talking about creating some topical Zoom trainings on things like that, cold market, one on posture, one on, how to feel more confident when you're sharing, what to share, the verbiage to use, all of that. I know that's an area that we tended to have a lot of people struggling with when we did these roll call game plans. It was a few areas that were like the biggies. That's one of them. But it's just important to commit to those 2 a day. And, Jeff Olson is all about Slide Edge. He's not about, 7 apples on Sunday. He's about doing 2 a day. And I'm not great at it. I'll be perfectly frank. I mean, I'm sure there are people out there that are perfect at it. I'm not one of them. But it's just a matter of commitment. And, I'm at a new place right now personally this year with my business, and I'm making a commitment to really start doing what I say I'm going to do. And if I say I'm going to do 2 exposures, I'm going to do 2 exposures. And I'm working on it. Next one is all bottles out. Okay, this one's hard. Again, I'll admit, I don't always have my bottles out, but I'm working on it. But we're going to talk about, I'm going to scroll down here to this little thing. Where is it? Product sampling machine. So we're gonna jot down to this for just a second, and this right here will blow your mind if you'll just listen to me for a minute. I didn't have the ability to write it in on there, but I'm going to tell you what I've got on my paper here. So I just took an average of what we used to have when we used to do these calls. We had everything from people having 1 bottle to somebody had, I think it was like 40 something bottles on their shelf, which I know sounds shocking, but sometimes people earn a lot of Nerium gifts back and they don't necessarily turn around and get it right back out. And so it builds up on their shelf. But I want you to just take a minute, take a breath, even close your eyes if you want to. I just want you to really listen to what I'm saying right here. If you had 8 bottles, that's about the average, sitting at home on your shelf, times 4 people. Now, this is a 7-day sample. These numbers would actually be bigger if we were just doing 5-day samples. Back when I made this paper, I was doing 7-day samples, so that's what I'm going with here. 7-day sample, 4 people, that's 32 faces. I'm about to quantify to you the value of these bottles. The industry average says that 1 in 10 sign up as BPs. That's 3.2 new BPs. I'm rounding down. 3 new BPs. Let's say that they came in at $750 for bronze. You can adjust these numbers if you'd like. That's $22.50 in volume. 1 in 3 industry average sign up as customers. Okay, so that's 11 new customers. Now on those, I just went ahead and went for the whole whammy, $210 for the ultimate combo pack, whatever it's called. I think that's actually the wrong wording, but the big one, all the products. That's $23.10 in volume. 11 customers. Think about that for a minute. And not only that, guess what? You're maxing your cab. And so you're making the most out of all of those customers, by the way. So total potential volume sitting on your shelf, 4,560. How many of you on this call, if you were to generate 4,560 in volume in your business, just you, this month, what would your business look like at the end of the month? Where would you be? And then I want you to think about something else. If everybody on your team that's active did the same exact thing, where would you be and where would they be? I promise you, you'd be closer to where you want to be. We've got to get the activity going. We've got to get the bottles out, because the bottles, basically 80% of all current BPs tried the product first. They put it on their face either as a sample or as a customer before they became a BP. You have to have those bottles out working for you. They're your employees. And if you don't have them out, you're not doing your job and you're not going to raise that paycheck. So underneath that, you'll notice it says available bottles. That'd be where you would just write your initial 8. Oh, I missed that part. I'm sorry. I skipped something. So if you add together your new customers and your new brand partners, the 3 and the 11, that's 14 new people, okay, that are now in your business, either business or customers. Guess what happens? What does Nerium do when we bring in new customers and brand partners? They give us free inventory. So now you started with 8 up here. Guess what you have down here now? 14. So what do we do with those 14 new bottles? We take them and we put them right back up in here and we run the whole thing again. This is a machine that runs every single month. And whatever you put into it is what you're going to get out of it. And whatever your people put into it is what you're going to get out of it. And if you're not using this machine, your business is going to grow like a snail. It just is. And that's one portion of our activity, but it's a very important portion of our activity. So down here, you're just going to put 8 bottles times 4 weeks is what? 32 names. So what do we do now? How do we take that information and make it into a plan? This is the part that people miss, okay? Take a piece of paper, and I may be even making one. I have been thinking about it, but I shouldn't have to. You just take a piece of lined paper, guys. I mean, seriously, write wait list at the top, and you need 32 names. If you have 8 bottles, you need 32 names this month, okay? So go through your phone, go through your Facebook, go through your master list if you have yours, if you made one, and just start making a wait list. Call people up and say, hey, I'm trying to gather more pictures from my portfolio. Can I borrow your face? Hey, you really need to try this new product. I'm going to give you a free 5-day sample. Are you open to that? Whatever. Do it on Facebook, whatever you want to do, but get your wait list going. And don't just stop at 8. Don't just make 8 names and then stop. What you do is to be proactive. You say, my goal is to have 32 by the end of the month. So your goal is to go ahead and get those names now. Take some time tomorrow, call those people. When you get to 8, now you know you have the 8 that are going to sample this week, right? When you get to person number 9, you say, great, I'm going to put you on my wait list. As soon as I get my bottles back, I'll get you one. But if you don't want to wait, you can go on my website and purchase and have a 30-day money-back guarantee and do a 30-day risk-free trial. That's really important to use that logic. A BP of mine reminded me of that one today when I was talking to somebody. You always want to throw that in because it'd be great if we could just go ahead and sign them up as a customer. And so if you're having to put them on your wait list, always add in that extra, well, if you don't want to wait, here's another option for you. But the point is, we want a 32 name wait list as soon as possible at the beginning of the month. Because guess what's going to happen? If you don't do that, here's what's going to happen. You're going to get your first few bottles out, and then you're going to go pick them up, and then they're going to come in and they're going to sit on your shelf, and you're going to be thinking every day, oh gosh, I got to find somebody to get that bottle to. Oh, I've got to get another person. I got to start calling some people. I got to make a list. I got to do this. And guess what's going to happen? It's going to be February 29th this year, and you're going to realize, actually it's going to be like February 25th, and you're going to be like, oh crap, I got to get to this rank. If I've got 4 days, what am I going to do? I got to get more people. And it's hard at that point. But if you get all those people into the funnel now and you get them ready, then you're going to be ready at the end of the month. And so that's your homework. I don't know. I guess I did that big line right there. That's your homework on that one, is to literally map out the names on a piece of paper, on a lined piece of paper, all 32 names. And you do your own math. If you only have 5 bottles, then do the math and figure out how many names you need for your 5 bottles. Okay, so next thing. I see that people, what am I doing with these lines? I'm going to have to be more careful. Sorry, y'all. So parties, that's the other area. If you are going for director, it has been shown to be true across the company-wide that you need to have 5 parties on your team in a month in order to hit that rank. A party needs to be 4 new people at the party to really count as a successful party. You can't just have one friend over and do it. You know, everybody just has one friend and then expect to pop director. It just doesn't work that way. You got to get in front of more people. But these are the ranks. Director is 5 parties, senior director 15, executive 30, RMD 45, NMD 60. And those of you that are leaders, you all know, I mean, everybody that's ED and above knows to just track parties for your whole team so that you can, find out if you have enough parties going on, and they all need to be kind of equal. Again, we're looking at that 60-40 rule, so they need to be kind of balanced. But write your own personal parties that you're going to have down in this place, and then get a calendar and map out your team parties. And anybody can do that, even if you just have a small team. Just get a little calendar and keep track of what's going on in your team. Like they always say, inspect what you expect. So write it down. I'm really big about writing things down, obviously. That's why I make these papers. So anyway, I got kind of ahead of myself there. I'm going to go back up. So bottles out. That was why we went to the bottles. Attending a weekly market party or RRP. Again, that was down here where we talked about the parties. You can also do sit-downs here. We didn't really talk a whole lot about sit-downs back last year when we were doing this, but Dale Munger really hammered the sit-downs when we were at the NLA, and I really loved the way he put it. He said, I always use a sit-down as a backup. When I'm teaching a new brand partner to call and invite to their party, I always tell them, if the person says, no, I can't make it Thursday night, I have a Little League game or whatever, he says, I tell him, well, no worries, but listen, you were one of the first people I thought of, and I want to get this in front of you ASAP. So when can we meet for coffee? Are you free tomorrow night? And he turns it into a sit down. And I love that. And the other thing that I'll add too is, we've been doing some sit downs with people on my team, and we've been, instead of doing a 3-way call where it's like the speaker phone and it's a little bit awkward and they're like handing the person the phone and then they're sitting there twiddling their thumbs. What we've been doing is doing either Zoom or Skype or FaceTime, and actually doing where I'm actually looking at the prospect. I may not be there physically, but I'm having a real face-to-face conversation with this person. They're sitting in Starbucks. The VP hands them the iPad, hands them the headphones, and I have this really great conversation. And we even did that recently with the gal in Canada. We did a Zoom 3-way call, and it went really, really well. We really felt like we connected and related, and it worked. She signed up. And so utilize FaceTime, utilize the Skype, utilize this Zoom, get your own free account and really do that and create parties that way. So anyway, there's that. You need to be attending a Nerium U weekly. Get with an upline if you're not sure who in your area is doing an Nerium U. We can help you figure that out. And if you can't make it to one at somebody else's house, just commit to watching it, at your house. They're all archived. You can go back and watch them from the past year. There's so many wonderful, wonderful teachings. If you want to brush up on 3-way calls or you want to brush up on parties, go look at the Nerium U archives and listen to all of those. I had somebody do that the other day that wanted to know more about recruiting and sponsoring. I said, go back and listen to all these. And so there's that. And write where on the paper, write it down. This is, again, you're trying to be proactive. You're trying to have clarity. So write your goals down. Well, a Nerium U, where is it near me? And find out that information. Find out who's in charge. Call them, talk to them, make a commitment. Host one yourself. If you don't have one nearby, you host it. Monthly regional, that's just a no-brainer. Everybody, guys, regionals need to be non-negotiable. In my opinion, even if you're not a runner, even if you can't fit in all this other stuff and you're trying to do, I've got somebody I know that's a single mom and, got a lot on her plate and this and that or whatever. I say, okay, let's find other areas to cut back, but please, regionals, it's once a month. Go ahead and get it on your calendar ahead of time and don't miss it. That's where you're plugging in. You're getting major, major training, and you're plugging in with your team and other people, and you really get built up and get the faith and the belief built up in that regional. So please, please try to make those a non-negotiable. Find out where they are. If you don't know, talk to your upline. Daily personal development. We're all committing to do some form of daily personal development, 10 pages of a good book. Maybe some people do audiobook. I have a lot of people on my team that love to do audiobooks. We've even had some posts on our Facebook group about, hey, what are your favorite books? There's, book lists, if anybody wants to put those up on the group after this call, just to give ideas. I've heard recently a lot of great things about the book called Entrepreneurial Roller Coaster. I don't remember exactly, and I don't know who the author is, but I'm getting ready to order that book. So definitely make sure you're doing that and building up your confidence and building up your understanding of network marketing, all of that. Do you have a workout partner? Guys, this is where the accountability comes in. You can say all till you're blue in the face that you're going to do all this stuff, but if you don't have somebody that's holding you accountable, it's super easy to just let it slide. And again, I'll be the first to admit that I've done just that. And so, those of you that are SDs and above absolutely need to be on an accountability call. I know Monica's running 2 of them right now. If you aren't on one of those and you've decided you do want to be part of one, please let your upline know, and we'll see if we can't squeeze you in or start another one or whatever we need to do. We're actually talking about setting up some type of accountability, something for some of you that are wanting to run for Lexus. Maybe you're not an SD yet, but you really want that accountability. And we've got some things in the works for that. But whatever you're going to do, go ahead and make sure you have a partner that can help keep you on track. Maybe you talk once a week, maybe you talk every day, maybe you text. I've just heard wonderful stories of people they're just generating really awesome friendships by doing this workout partner thing. And then it's also really blessing their business because they're kind of spurring one another on. And then the last one there is be here a year from now. Commit to being here a year from now. Again, a no-brainer. We've said that from day one. This is a long-term journey. This is a garden. You are not going to harvest overnight. It's super important that you keep your confidence and your posture always on target because people are watching and they're going to watch. And if you dip in and out, they're not going to trust you. But if you stay solid and you just be patient and you don't give up, that's the secret. Everybody's always saying to the leaders, what's the secret? I have people come up to me at conference. How did you do it? How did you do it? I'm like, I just didn't give up. I just continued to learn. I continued to grow. When I hit a brick wall, I said, okay, why did I hit the brick wall? How can I grow and change so I don't hit it again? And I course corrected. And that's what you got to do, and stick it out for a year. Don't give up any sooner than a year. It just breaks our heart as leaders. I mean, really, truly, really breaks our hearts when people cash in before they've at least given it a year and actually done what we've asked to do. And then up in the top right, you'll see it talks about the additional high payoff activities, follow-ups, and 3-way calls. Follow-ups, the fortune is in the follow-up, guys. If you contact people and you get them samples and you invite them to parties and you do all this stuff, but then you don't follow up and you let it go, you're going to lose them. You've got to follow up. You got to go back. And that's another area that a lot of people have struggled with, is the confidence in the 3-way calls. And then the follow-up, just following up with people. And that's something we're going to be looking into doing some Zooms as well, just training. But in the meantime, again, go back and watch Nerium Use. There must be 40 of them on 3-way calls with all different leaders training on their way of doing 3-way calls. You could learn so much just by listening to one or 2 of those a week. And then, of course, we need to plug into the corporate and team calls whenever you can. A really neat tip that another brand partner gave me a few months ago, she said, she tells her brand partners that, if they can't be on the Monday call or they can't be on the corporate update call or even Nerium U, and they already know ahead of time they're going to be working, she has them schedule a time. She says, well, go ahead and pick a time. Why don't, when do you have time during the week? Are you free on Tuesday nights? Like, is that a good time? And she'll say, put an alarm in your phone or put it in your calendar and say, okay, at 7:00 on Tuesday nights, I'm going to listen to the corporate update call. Or, on Monday nights on my way to Nerium U. I had one gal said she listens to the Monday morning Monica call on her way to Nerium U because that's the only time slot that she has. So schedule it where it fits for you, but get it in. So, okay. So then the next thing, I'm trying to hurry up, guys. I know I guess I'm not taking as long as I thought I was. It's only 9:40. Okay. I figured I was going to keep this under an hour. Okay, so who are your top 10 in play? Here's another area where you have to be crystal clear about what you're doing and who you're talking to. Otherwise, you're just, you're like, what is that analogy? Like a ship in the night without a lighthouse. I mean, you're just all over the place. The waves are crashing and you have no compass and you're just lost. And so you've got to always know who your top 10 are, know who the people you're working with that are actively interested. And if you don't have a top 10, that's a clue of something that needs to change as to why your boat's not moving in the right direction. And whatever you do is going to duplicate down to your team. Keep that in mind too. Everything you're doing with all of this is what your team is going to do because they're watching you. And so keeping this list full is super important. And so if you don't have 10 right now that are in play and actively engaged, and that's what that means. In play means that they're actively engaged. You've given them information, or you've piqued their interest, and they are showing interest. They are wanting more info. Now, maybe you've already given them one exposure and they're in the middle and we're, going for the next one. That's still in play. There's somebody that has not said no and that they're actively showing interest in what you're doing. If you do not have anybody that is in that position, you need to get some. And how do you think you get some? By picking up the phone and contacting exposures, more exposures. Keep putting people into the funnel, basically. I'm going to segue for a second and tell a story that I know many of you have heard, but some of you haven't, and I think you'll love it. So basically, I want you to imagine a parking lot, like Disney World size parking lot, empty, no cars, just pavement. And then I want you to imagine red Solo cups, just for fun. They don't have to be red, but that's what I see in my head. Everywhere in the whole parking lot. I'm going to take this off of screen share for a second. Everywhere in the parking lot is red Solo cups, upside down. Okay? You're standing at the edge, and all you see is red. And basically, your sponsor says to you, I want you to go ahead and start turning over cups. Just 2 a day. Just take it easy. Just 2 a day. And we're looking for diamonds, because in this parking lot, there's going to be maybe 10 or 15 cups that have diamonds worth millions underneath them. And it's your job to go find them. And so you start turning over cups. And you go to one cup and you look at it and you're like, oh, come on, this has got to be the diamonds. Come on. It's got to be. I know it is. And you flip it over and guess what? It's not. And then you go to the next one, and then you go to the next one, and sometimes you stay on one for like a week, and you're like willing this thing to be a diamond, and you are just like you lift it up and you look in, and there's no diamond. You're like, no, that can't be right. This gotta be. It's gotta be. There's gotta be diamonds under this one. I'm telling you. And you turn into your son. You're like, just wait. I'm telling you, this is gonna be one right here. This is it. And guess what? You're wasting time, because it's never gonna be diamonds under that cup. Okay, that cup. Maybe nothing. It may be just a customer, whatever. You can catch my drift here. We're looking for the lookers. We're looking for a small group of people that eventually are going to lead to the millions, okay? And you can't make anybody be that. They either are or they aren't, okay? But the point is, you have to keep turning over the cups, okay? And quickly. You don't want to waste time just sitting and trying to will a cup to be something it's not. You got to get to more cups. That diamond could be right next to the cup that you're willing to be one. And then the other thing that I've added to it that I thought was kind of cool, imagine now your sponsor says to you, okay, I've given you some time with your cups, because this is your network. We're looking at your warm market here. The red cups are typically your warm market. Maybe as you get farther, you're going to start getting into some cold market and people you don't know yet. But for right now, what you can see, this is your warm market. But he's going to say, listen, we're about to let some other people loose. I've got about 100 people behind me, and in about 10 minutes, I'm going to start letting them turn cups over. Well, what does that mean? That means that if you don't talk to your friend, they're going to hear about it from somebody else, and you just lost your chance. That happened to me. I have somebody that I've known for years and years and years back in the church that we used to go to in Miami. I hadn't talked to her in a long time, but she should have been on my list. I should have contacted her, and I didn't. And she joined another team, and she's still plugged. She's been in for, a year and a half now, and she's still actively working on that other team. I don't know exactly how successful she's been, but she's in and she's working. And to me, that's all I ever want, is somebody who's just committed and willing to stick with it. So the point is, there's a sense of urgency. You've got to turn over those cups, and you got to turn them over quickly. And, do what you can. Some people can only do 2 a day. Some people can do more than 2 a day. But do what you can, and do it with urgency, and letting people know. You don't necessarily have to pour 30 people into your hot top 10 today, but you need to let everybody know you're doing Nerium. You need to make sure that everybody in your warm market knows that you're doing Nerium, so that you're the one they come to when they're ready. And they will be. At some point, people are going to see the validation from the media. They're going to see, something that's going to click them over the edge. Right now, they may be a skeptic. They may be doubtful. All of that. They may not trust any of it because they don't understand Nerium. But then next thing you know, maybe we're in Cosmo again. Maybe we're on the news again. I mean, we were on CBS News a couple years ago, and our businesses blew up right after that because we all used that and sent it out to everybody, a little 2-minute clip. It was that media validation. And, we're going to get more and more of that because our products are incredible. And we all know that. But we have to utilize that kind of stuff because that impresses people. That's validation. So anyway, okay, so that's the end of that train of thought. Let me go back to this real quick. So top 10, the point in doing this is writing your names down and then figuring out where they are in the exposure process. I'm going to stop that one more time. I'm sorry to go back and forth here, but I want to show y'all something. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, but so on my paper, I had it folded there. What I do is I write the person's name that's my prospect, and then I have little codes. This is how I do it. I have little codes that I write next to it to just decipher where they're at in the process. So on this person, it says Rhonda, single mom. She's had a 3-way call, so I wrote 3W. She's seen videos. Sometimes I'll even write more information than that because when I used to do these, obviously I was doing them for a team member. I was writing their information in there to help them, but just for the sake of tonight, I wrote my own. And then I also have a little code that tells what's their holdup, because that's what I would always ask. Well, what's their holdup? This one, her holdup is money. She's trying to come in. Money's an issue. And so as I'm dripping on her, I'm always keeping that in mind, and I'm talking to her regularly. I'm, giving her ideas on ways to come up with the money and just staying in contact with her as she is doing her best to come up with this money. My job is to cast a vision big enough that she's going to go out and get that money. And so with each person on your list, as you write this list out, your goal is to figure out what their holdup is. If they've already been through the whole exposure process and they still have not joined, you need to figure out what it is they need. And it may be as simple as literally getting them on the phone and just being like, hey, what else can I give you? What other information can I give you to get you to a point of decision? You can do the whole, on a scale of 1 to 10, where are you? 10 being, yes, sign me up. 0 being, or 1 being, no, I'm not interested. Thanks so much. Which of course, then we always ask for referrals. But what do we have to do to get them to a 10? And sometimes you just have to be bold and ask. And, if you're not comfortable with that, put them on a 3-way call and let the expert ask. Okay. But we've got to start closing them. We've got to start doing that follow up, finding out where they're at, getting out of our comfort zone a little bit to find out where they're at so that we can go ahead and either close them or move on. Figure out whether they're a diamond and they're ready to join and be part of our business and start moving, or whether they're not, and we need to just keep going. So basically, and then the last thing on the paper at the bottom, yeah, I already said that. Okay. Last thing on the paper, what are 3 things you need to proactively work on? I'd love it if you guys would just self-assess, what, in your opinion, what are the 3 areas that you feel are your stops that are, just like we're asking our prospects, what's holding them up? Look at yourself. Find out what's holding you up. What brick wall is keeping you from moving forward in your business? How can you course correct? Like I was sharing earlier about myself, what can you change that can help you grow and be better in that particular area? And on that one, ask your upline for help, for sure. We're here. And, they said at the regional, at Dale Bunger's regional, he said, there's one thing that really, really breaks my heart and upsets me about Nerium. And everybody was like, what? He said, it's when a brand partner tells me, well, I would have called you, but I thought you were too busy. And every leader in the room erupted in a hand clap, because that is so true. Don't ever presume that we're too busy for you. Even if we say no a couple times, even if you ask for a 3-way call today and I say, sorry, can't help today, and then you ask again tomorrow. If I can't help, it's because I've already got another call. It's not because I don't want to help you. If you just need help, you just say, hey, I need to find time to talk with you so that you can help me. You know what I'm saying? Like, you reach out, you keep reaching out, no matter how many times somebody can't fit it into their schedule. You keep going till you find somebody that can help you, because somewhere in your upline or even crossline, we can find help. We can find people that can coach you through your issues. And then, like I said before, we're going to be doing some feedback and getting, because I'm all about efficiency. This right here is amazing. 94 people on this Zoom. Do you know how many hours it would have taken me to do these one by one for all 94 of you? At least 94 hours. And so, I want to hear feedback on topics. And I may even put up a question in the group and Facebook group and let y'all just answer. I would love to hear some feedback on what topics are the ones that you want training on. And then we're going to do stuff like this, a Zoom training, not just me, but some of the other leaders and other people that can share their tips and ideas. Because, I don't have a corner on anything, and there are a lot of wonderfully gifted, talented, amazing people on our team. And when I say leaders, I don't necessarily mean rank. There's people who, are a senior brand, even brand partner, but, senior brand directors that have stuff to offer. They have wisdom of stuff they've learned that they can share about. And so I want to pour that back into you guys. And I want to just figure out what topics, you need. But for right now, I'm just going to wrap up with saying that, you just have to have the clarity. You have to know where you're going. You have to know what your goals are. Use the paper, write it down, answer the questions, write it on paper, and then create a plan. Say, okay, well, the 10 core, this is how I'm going to hit it. This right here is how I'm going to make it. And if you'll notice, some of these things are more high payoff activities than others. This is another thing I forgot that I wanted to say. Things like, the Nerium Mew, going to a market party, even if you don't have a guest, for your personal development, even convention, all those things, they're all wonderful and they're important. Plugging in is super important. But listen, guys, what it boils down to is you gotta be getting a paycheck. That's what's gonna really fuel you. And if you're not doing the high payoff activities, which involve a prospect, okay, that's the easiest way to put it. Anything high payoff involves you talking to your friends and your people and your warm market and your cold market and all of it. Okay. If you're not doing those things, your business isn't going to grow. You have to be willing to get out there, get those bottles out, get the parties on the books. The more parties we can get on the books, the better. For goodness sakes, last year we had so many parties happening at the beginning of last year, and then we just kind of lost it. We got to get back to that. We got to set a new standard for all the new people that are coming in now. We don't want to be in that same rut that we've all been in. We want to set a new standard, and we've got to do it with this stuff right here. It worked last year, and it's going to work again if we just get back to the basics, which is the 10 core, and get back to the high payoff activities, which is getting your bottles out, getting parties on the books, scheduling sit downs, and doing follow-ups and 3-way calls. That's how you're going to grow your business. That's how you're going to meet your goals. So write it all down on the paper, and then do everything in your power to pace yourself this month and get as many people in the funnel now at the beginning of the month, so that at the end, when it's time for us to wrap this up, and after the 23rd, when all the leaders are saying, all right, let's get you to senior brand. All right, let's get you to director. We need to pop some iPads. We need to pop some Lexus earners. It's been too long, guys. It's been too long, and we need that. The team needs that. We need the excitement of the ranking up and the people meeting their goals. And now that we're out of that 250 pack and we've got the bigger chunks to work with, I'm telling you, it's doable. If you're going for director, look at this, guys. 8 bottles will get you 4,500 in volume. Guess what? That's an iPad. Okay? You help enough people get an iPad, you're putting somebody in a car. You help enough people get in a car, you're hitting an MD and getting your $50,000 bonus. That's what it's all boils down to, okay, is this machine and the parties and the sit-downs and the 3-way calls. You keep this machine moving for you and for your whole team, and we're going to start hitting goals, guys. We're going to have the clarity. And, Monica said it perfectly this morning, clarity and lily pads. Guys, clarity is where are you going, and the lily pads is how are you going to get there, okay? This is helping you with the lily pads. It's writing it down and telling you how to get from one to the next. And if you need more detailed stuff, like I said, get with an upline. That's what we're here for. I am super honored that you guys took the time to sit and listen to me for an hour, and I hope that it was helpful and that you learned something new. And I look forward to doing more of these with you guys. I'm going to stop the recording and then I'll unmute.